Jeremy Ervin was born and raised in Birmingham, Alabama. He is a rising force in the public relations space. With proven results, he believes in doing everything in the spirit of excellence, whether it's managing a political campaign, mentoring youth, or working to achieve a goal. Some of the most successful and notable campaign accomplishments include managing District Attorney Danny Carr's campaign, Judge Ruby Davis's campaign, Representative Ontario Tillman's campaign, and lastly but not least, School Board Representative District James Sullivan. Jeremy is currently employed with the Birmingham Water Works Board as the Workforce Development Administrator Facilitator. He's responsible for overseeing the process of designing, implementing, and evaluating training and career development programs that support the Birmingham Water Works Board's strategic goals. His primary role is to ensure that Birmingham Water Works Board employees have the necessary skills and knowledge to perform their job duties effectively and efficiently. He has worked to secure many partnerships on behalf of the BWWB. One of the projects he is working on, currently managing for the Birmingham Water Works Board, is the Youth Ambassador Program, which is a program designed to reconnect, re-engage, and reintroduce a new generation to the Birmingham Water Works. This enriching experience helps students to learn and understand the daily operations of the Birmingham Water Works Board and to help them to understand their responsibility in water conservation. Jeremy is a graduate of Stillman College with a BS in Business Management and a Master's in Business Administration from the University of Phoenix, Dallas campus. Jeremy remains actively involved in many professional and civic organizations. He serves as chair of the Board of Leaders of Excellence, CAC Steel City Next Generation Young Professionals Board, and he is also a 17-year member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. In his spare time, he enjoys singing, spending time with family, and traveling. Jeremy, tell me a joke.
All right. So, why can't you ever trust an atom?
Because it splits.
No. You ready?
Yeah.
Because they make up everything.
How did Vikings communicate with one another?
Through
Norse code. How did Benjamin Franklin feel when he discovered electricity?
He was ecstatic.
Shocked.
Okay. Okay.
Man, I love bios like that.
Thank you.
Because they tell the professional side.
Yeah, just enough.
And leave me to ask all the rest.
No, PR.
And so I want to know, first of all,
yes, sir.
You know, part of town you grew up, church,
yeah,
with your family,
yeah.
You know, any siblings.
Yeah.
You know, tell me that stuff I don't know. Like we met, we've been friends ever since, but I don't know the crux.
The crux of
yeah.
Who I am. So I was born, like I said, born and raised in Birmingham, and I'm just gonna keep it 100. My dad could never keep a job, so we was all over the city. So North Birmingham, Ansley Projects. I grew up in Ansley Projects.
Okay.
We lived in North Birmingham for a while. We lived in Homewood. We lived in Crestwood, and then in Hoover. And so, so my family is all here. Once I graduated, Stillman, I went to Dallas, Texas, and I lived in Dallas for 10 years. And then I was out there working on political campaigns, and I realized that I could be doing the same work here in Birmingham. And
Yeah.
so at that time,
Well, hold on.
God, my
hold
bad,
on,
my
no.
bad. I don't want to
No,
sound
that's
like that.
good.
All right.
But of your bouncing around and stuff, like where did you spend the most time?
Mm-hmm.
And especially around the 7th, 8th grade. Like,
So
where were you then?
That was another opposite situation. So we lived in Pratt City.
Okay.
So majority of that time I was in Pratt City. I went to Scott Elementary School. I went to Council for a little while, which was in Ensley, and we moved from Ensley to Pratt City. I stayed in Pratt City for a couple of years, and then I went to Daniel Payne Middle School from just 1 year, and then we moved from Daniel Payne area, Pratt City, to Fountain Heights.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Did that feel normal at the time, or did at that time, even then, you were like, "This ain't"?
You know what? It felt normal.
Yeah.
Because it had always been the precipice. Like ever since
I point that out to people. It's like, okay, what you criticize now, but as a kid,
we didn't know. You know what I'm saying?
Know.
I didn't know because I had everything that I thought I needed. You know what I'm saying? And so navigating through that as a kid, I was just having fun. Now there was when I started to get older from that sixth grade to 7th grade, that's when you're becoming more aware.
And that's why I pointed to that.
Exactly. So I had friends, like this, and I started, being active in extracurricular activities.
What about church?
So we were born and raised in one church all my life, which is Acts Ministries on 614 21st Street, Ensley, Avenue G.
Who's the pastor?
Pastor Frederick Smith is the pastor, and so my upbringing was through that church, and my mom is now the overseer of that church in partnership with Pastor Frederick Smith. So yeah.
Now, is that when you started singing?
Yeah, man. So I started singing. His brother, Eric Smith, was the pastor at the time. And so we were just playing around one day in church, and he heard us singing. He immediately got on the organ and started playing. And I started singing, me and my brother. And yeah, so that's how it started. Like
I
when I was
didn't know
like
you sang until
5.
recently.
Yeah.
What came up? You were singing at something recent.
I sung. There was a community event at Bodega, the cigar bar, and a young lady was in the audience, and I sung "Happy Birthday" to the young lady.
Well, it was something that you sang. You were the featured singer.
I was,
and that was the first time that I knew you sang. That was completely new to me.
Yeah.
Now, did you play sports in high school?
Yeah.
Did you in the band,
so
choir?
I was on the track team.
Where'd you go to high school?
I went to BAH Parker High School.
Okay.
Class of 2001. Shout out to class of 2001. I was on the drama team. I was in the choir. I was everything in high school. I was Mr. Junior, Mr. Homecoming. I was vice president of my class. So I did everything. Yeah, I loved my experience at Parker.
Okay.
So that's why when I left Daniel Payne and went to Wilkinson, I decided then, like, I don't care if I have to get on the bus. I'm not changing another school at this point. So once I got to Parker, that was it.
Cool. Yeah. Now, you said you finished Parker and then went to Dallas?
I went to Stillman.
Well, I'm sorry. First you went to Stillman. Now, what was your Tuscaloosa experience?
Man, I went to school year round. I knew that I was on a mission, and so I was on the Marlin troop there, Students in Free Enterprise. I was on NAACP board. I was SGA president at Stillman. I was again another opportunity for me to be there, and I also went to Stillman on choir scholarship. Okay. So I had a choral scholarship there, and so that's what helped me to pay for college. By the time, and I was actually the first junior to be SGA president in Stillman's history. So I knew that I was destined for something. I just always wanted to. I've always been in positions where I had to take a leadership role.
Yeah.
And that played out. That has played out throughout all my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Stillman to Dallas. What took you to Dallas?
So, what took me to Dallas is I was working at Global Financial Aid Services, which provides financial assistance to students are that don't have the regular path. So they chose like online schools at that point, and it was very early on, like in 2007, 2008, when the online booming schools started happening. At that point, it was crazy because all of the schools that we serviced were in Dallas, but the hub was in Birmingham, which was Global Financial Aid Services. It was a third party financial aid provider.
Yeah.
So all the schools that we serviced, I worked there for I would say about 5 years. And then I got an opportunity through there to move to Dallas. I went to visit Dallas the summer before I moved. I didn't know at that point. I was there and I couldn't stop thinking about it. So every time I saw a commercial, it was about Dallas. Every time I saw anything, when I woke up in the morning, I was thinking about Dallas. And so I had 13 interviews when I got there because we serviced 10 schools. And they were all in the Dallas area. So I had 13 interviews, and University of Phoenix is where I started working when I got there, and I worked there for 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And so what brought you back to Birmingham?
So it's interesting enough, when purpose is knocking on your door, it's, you either answer the call or try to force yourself to stay. So me, when I first moved to Dallas, man, I was like, I'm never going to move back home to Birmingham. I'm never going to go back. But the University of Phoenix were doing major layoffs, like at that point in time, and I missed about 2 waves. That third wave came around in April of 2017, man, and not 2017, 2017 April. And at that point, it was either try to work to try to stay or whatever. So I took my 401k, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to do personal training. I'm gonna try to. In my church, I was very active in my church at the time, but during that 10 years in Dallas, I was missing graduations. I was missing my mom. I was missing family, and so I tried to stay. And I had just got my master's degree at that point in the fall before, and I couldn't find a job anywhere. And which was weird because I was just like, I was trying my best to stay. But then when I came back home, I visited home and I stayed at home for 3 weeks, and it felt like peace. It felt like peace. It felt like it was the right time. But sometimes you're afraid to kind of step out on faith. Man, I had the last $2,000 to my pocket, and that was $2,000 that my church had gave me. Because they tell you to have 6 months of income saved up, before you, do anything. I had met my 6 months, and I was like, okay, I got $2,000 left. What do I do? Man, I get on the road moving back to Birmingham, and I had 3 job offers coming back. And so for me, my steps have been ordered ever since. When I moved back in 2017, I got a call from my high school principal. And we were extremely close. She bought my high school graduation cap and gown. And she was telling me, she said, hey, I want you to come to my retirement party. And it's at the same time, I want you to come because Dan is going to be announcing, he's running for DA. So I didn't know in what capacity that I would be serving on the campaign because, if you know Miss Regina Carr Hope, she gonna voluntold you to do something. You better do it. So, so I was like, okay, so I went to that, and then I met Danny when I was 14. But it's crazy how things come full circle, and so. Even then, my steps was ordered, and so I would go to the campaign meetings, and I noticed we didn't have, the structure that we needed within the campaign. And so that's where the strategy came in in working with Ms. Hope, who's phenomenal on campaigns. So I learned everything about campaigns. I learned it from her. So if you listening, Miss Hope, I learned everything that I know. I'm finally saying it to the world. Everything I know about campaigns has been from her. That's and awesome. So and I love her dearly. And working with her on Danny's campaign, I ended up like working as the campaign manager and working side by side with her and kind of understanding what you need to say to people, how you need to make those direct messages to people, and how you need to lead a team of people. And so from there, it just, elevated to something else. And I started my business, Urban PR, in 2018.
Now, I often offer suggestions, if you will,
yeah,
on people who are in the campaign space.
Correct.
Let me tell you, if you want to win, call him. If you want to win,
I appreciate that.
Call him.
I appreciate that.
That's real.
I appreciate that. And I actually met you on the campaign trail.
Exactly.
I met you at JO.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I remember saying to myself that you had it.
I appreciate it.
Real quick. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But then as I watched you and Danny, I was just waiting for your ass to go. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like sooner or later.
Okay.
You're mature.
I appreciate that.
You're focused. And you know what you're doing.
I appreciate that, brother.
You know what you're doing.
Appreciate that.
I don't know if you can win a campaign in Los Angeles or New York, but right there, right here, you gonna win that.
Yeah. I appreciate that.
You gonna win that.
I appreciate that, and it's a lot of hard work that goes behind the scenes, because it is understanding the landscape of where we live, and understanding that if you're not running with the heart of the people, then no, I'm not going to help you. Because that's why I came back. And I asked God that, if I come back, like, lead my purpose, like, what are my steps? And He has orchestrated that completely, and so I live that out, and before any campaign meeting, before we're going knocking on doors, we pray before everything that we do, because I'm not guided by just self. I'm guided by His instruction. And if I work with any candidate, they have to understand that. And we got to visit the churches. We got to go knock on the doors. Like, I am a boots to the ground person, because I believe that candidates, you have to connect to the people that you are supposedly representing. Absolutely. And if you can't represent them with all heart, then why are you running?
That's right.
So, yeah.
That's right. Now, I always ask people, what makes you so Birmingham? Mm-hmm. It's obvious you've been all over this motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly. What makes me?
But
exactly.
You tell me. Yeah. What makes you so Birmingham?
What makes me so Birmingham is because my grandfather and my grandmother, I'm so happy to be able to tell this story. My grandfather, Ezel Fitz, and my grandmother, Bessie Fitz, God rest their souls, they had 12 kids. And all the kids lived or born in Collegeville, Gate City, Kingston. They were all raised up in that area. And they went to Carver, Parker. And so he left a legacy, in the North Birmingham area. And so to be a part of that, he always told me how proud he was of me. Yeah. Although, I don't have a relationship with my father, God has always strategically placed, strong men in my life to be able to kind of embody what it means to be a man. Yeah. And so, and then being raised in the projects, you know what I'm saying? Like hanging up clothes on the back, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, going to the candy store right there and then being reprimanded by one of the ladies in the little corner store that was right around the corner from Council Elementary School. I thought I was
See,
going
that's
to
when
steal.
other
Listen,
folk could chastise the children. Yeah.
I thought I was fixing to steal a 5-cent Laffy Taffy, man. I had put that in my pocket. That lady said, "Come back here. Get your butt back in here. You better not come back in here unless you come back with your mama or your dad."
Yeah.
I ain't been in that store since. But you know what I'm saying? But those were the things, like, people really cared about,
Yeah.
you know, the culture of and cultivating kids during, you know, that were growing up in Ensley. And then when I got to Pratt City, the same thing, the teachers that I had then, you know, the teachers at Council Elementary School, the teachers at Scott Elementary School, you know, and then even in middle school. So being able to live all over the city, having strong roots here, my family is here, the core of my family is here. That's what makes me so Birmingham, you know, and understanding now as an adult, you know, as a millennial, how I can assist my city. So they can't talk like I can talk, but guess what? I can talk for them. You know, they can't, you know, they don't have all the education that I have, but guess what? I do. They don't know how to write proposals to go from the poorhouse to the White House, but guess who can? I can. You know, and so I love my city, and that's why I wanted to come home. And so when I came in 2017, I knew it was grind time. Like, I knew it was time to really give back to the city that gave back to me.
How can people find you on social media?
Man, you can find
What's
me.
your favorite hangouts?
So right now, man, I am loving Bodega, bro. Like
No,
Bodega.
I'm saying your hangouts on social
I thought
media.
you saw my hangout
No,
spot right now in
But
the
we'll
city.
we'll do that too.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
first, tell me,
Yeah.
like, is your favorite Instagram, Facebook,
Oh yeah,
whatever, and how people can find you?
Yeah.
Then tell me your favorite hangouts.
All right, because I was going there. Bro. All right, so if you want to find out more about who I am, you can definitely go to www.urbanpr.net. You can find me on Instagram at jerv at 40 on Instagram. And then you can find me also on Instagram at Urban PR Firm on Instagram as well.
And now, what's the hangouts? So I know what to do this summer.
So the hangout for me, man, I like a chill, laid back vibe, bro. And you know, I've started smoking cigars. You know, so yeah, like, so Club Bodega on Fifth Avenue, man. That's where I've been hanging out at here in the city. It's a laid back, cool vibe. If you like, you know, smoking cigars where it's not too smoky and you got it, you know, you worried about, like, can you breathe in the location? It's kind of outdoor, indoorsy. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just loving the culture, man. And it's crazy because Birmingham has a huge culture. The cigar culture is huge here. You know, it's quiet, but it's huge here. And so being able to adapt to
cigar
that.
men of distinction.
Exactly. You got the women, you know what I'm saying? And so it's been pretty dope, man. Just going out there, just kicking it and hanging out with my people.
Well, huge shout out to my son, Kenny Silas.
Yeah.
And then also shout out to Marvin Spencer at Lit on 8. Those are two really cool places that you can go enjoy a stick. What's your favorite charity?
So right now, my favorite charity, and I'm glad to be a part of it, it's a 501c3, Leaders of Excellence.
Tell us about it.
So Leaders of Excellence is a 501c3 organization that provides resources for teens and early adults at risk who have lack of resources. So we provide technological resources for kids that are 13 all the way up to age 22. And so we give them resources like interview skills, we provide resumes, we do training, we give them access to new technologies. Right now, we have a partnership where the kids are going to pilot competitions. You know, so it's a lot of resources, and we do career fairs to the communities over in Woodlawn. Shout out to Alyssa Knox, who is the CEO of that organization. I'm the chair of the organization, but it's Leaders of
I
Excellence.
knew I was like the name sounded for yes,
Yeah.
y'all are kicking ass,
Yeah.
and Alicia is
She's dope.
She's so dope.
Super dope.
She's
Yeah, man.
so dope.
A lot of stuff happening.
Man,
and if I'm not giving back in some kind of way, I don't want to be a part of it. Like, I'm 40 years old, man, and so I want to be able to leave a legacy, to Birmingham and say, you know what, I don't care if he did die, but guess what? He gave back to this city, and he gave his heart.
I wouldn't be worth my salt. I was gonna let you off the hook.
Yeah.
But I'm not. I would not be worth my salt if I didn't ask.
Yeah.
Are you single?
I am.
All right, ladies. I'm telling you, if I ain't suggesting many folk. Yeah. Y'all want to meet a nice man? Here you go. He's single.
Appreciate that.
Now, I'm gonna ask you some questions.
Okay.
If you don't answer, you got to make a donation to Leaders of Excellence.
Okay. But I want to give you. Can I give you a shout out real quick?
What's that?
Man, I'm proud of you, bro. Like, seeing this dude on social media, he crazy and funny. but just to be in your space, man, and to come in here, this is a vibe, dude. Like, and I'm proud of you. I'm glad that you stepped out on faith and made this happen for yourself, and to see that come to full fruition, bro, I'm proud of you. So, yeah, just to be sitting in this seat, man, you doing your thing, and you got a voice, you got a lot to say.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. But anyway,
I appreciate that, but I have to give two shout outs.
Okay.
Number one, to whomever is in that seat.
Absolutely.
You guys make me. You know what I mean?
Yes,
and like, God has blessed me with these relationships. And I'm proud of y'all. You know what I'm saying? And I want people to know who you are.
Appreciate that.
You know, I really want people to know my circle and know that you're approachable. That, you know what I'm saying?
And that's the thing.
You know what I'm saying? We all regular folk.
Exactly.
And we're here to help people get where they want to go.
Absolutely.
And then I got to get a shout out to this dude, to your right, man. He is the one that taught me everything.
Silent Storm.
People, I don't like excuses. I don't like hearing bullshit, right?
Absolutely.
And I went, people, everybody want a podcast. Everybody want to do this. Well, I went and learned.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I got trained from somebody. And so I appreciate that, but I do have to lift up all of you who are in that seat, because if it wasn't for y'all, man, you know what I'm saying? This show wouldn't be nothing.
Well, I'm happy to be here, man.
So, Regents Park or Rickwood Field?
Regents Park.
Botanical Gardens or Railroad Park?
Railroad Park.
Protective Stadium or Legacy Arena?
Protective Stadium.
Crossplex or Legion Field?
Legion Field, of course.
Biggie or Tupac?
Tupac, absolutely.
Michael Jackson or Prince?
Michael Jackson.
Birmingham Zoo or McWayne Science Center?
McWayne Science Center.
Sloss Furnace or Vulcan Park?
Vulcan Park.
iPhone or Android?
Android, of course.
Jay-Z or Nas?
Oh, they both good lyricists. I'm gonna go ahead and say Nas, because I know everybody gonna say Jay-Z. I'm just gonna be devil's advocate and say Nas. He's a lyricist. All right. Yeah. Birmingham Barons or Birmingham Squadron? Gotta give it up for the home team, the Barons. They've been here, so.
Birmingham Legion or Birmingham Stallions?
I'm gonna say the Stallions. Yeah, they killed them.
Alabama or Auburn?
Alabama.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide, baby.
State or A&M?
I don't have a dog in that fight, but if I have to say it, I'm gonna have to go to Alabama State. They gave me I had a scholarship to go to Alabama State.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Now, what's your zodiac sign?
I'm a Scorpio.
What does that mean? Like, what?
So,
What are Scorpios?
Scorpios are very intuitive. We're vibey, so we're water signs. So we are damn near sometimes clairvoyant. Like can vibe out in a space and kind of can see it, sit back and see a space. We're gonna tell the truth. We're gonna keep it 100, whether you like it or not. And that's just. But we're also gonna be careful to be observant first to know how to navigate a space that we're in.
That's perfect for you.
Yeah.
I mean, like
I'm chill, laid back.
But I'm saying that approach or what your sign is makes you
matches me to a T.
Yeah, it matches you to a T,
Yeah.
and I can see how that can make you successful in your.
We're not going to be the first to speak in a room.
Yeah.
If we say something, it's going to be validated, well thought out, and that's another thing. We're already going to be noticed when we walk in a space, and we get that, and I get that. But at the same time, I don't have to be the loudest in the room. Observe first, speak when it's appropriate to speak. Even the Bible talks about being swift to hear and slow to speak. So that's how I live.
Now, I'm doing something special today, if nobody can tell, and that is I'm announcing my pleasure with the direction that you young people have taken at the Waterworks board.
Okay.
Like I can look around and I can see you and Derek Murphy and Rick Jackson and people who are younger, sharp.
Yeah.
I know you.
Yeah.
I know you're good people.
Yeah.
Teresia.
Yeah.
Mashana. I know y'all know
Correct.
y'all, right?
Right.
And I love what you're doing.
Yes.
And how you're doing things differently.
Yeah.
I brought you here not only to introduce you, but to allow you to talk about what the Waterworks is doing with workforce development and what your plans are.
Okay. Well, so this is a new position for the Birmingham Water Works. So Birmingham Water Works is almost 150 something years old. And we've never had workforce development before at all. So my background, I have 17 years of HR experience, and majority of that, some of that has been workforce development. And so when I got the invitation got the offer about the position, like I said, I knew that I needed to work in a space where I can create, and that's where I learned. I do better with creating things and making it better. And so for me, I knew all of the stuff that you have been hearing about Birmingham Water Works. I mean, you got to be living on a rock. But I knew for me that was opportunity. I used my political mindset, and how I develop campaigns and creating strategy behind making things efficient. And that's what this role does.
That's one of my favorite words.
Yeah.
Efficient.
Yes. Yeah. And so that's the number one focus in workforce development is taking a look at what you have and how you can build from scratch and make processes better. And so that's what I do at the Birmingham Water Works. And so working with like key organizations or key departments in organizations. So we have 22 departments at the Birmingham Water Works. And so I have the pleasure of meeting with the managers in each of those departments to understand what it is that they do on a daily basis, understand what their processes are, what their job roles consist of, what are their pain points, what's keeping staff here, what's making staff leave, and understanding, what we can do to make this department better as a whole, and coming up with a strategy to understand, what's 5 years from now is going to look
Mm-hmm.
like. And so in workforce development, you have to be 5 to 10 years ahead of where you are right now. And so working your way back to achieve that goal.
Yeah.
And that's what I do for Birmingham Water Works. And so far, so good. I've been there 7 months and I'm loving every day. Every day is something different. I took this role again because most of your roles in HR are very transactional roles where you're doing just payroll, you're doing, and I've done recruiting 13 of those 17 years. And so for me, at this point, at 40, I had to do something that was fulfilling. So why not do that for one of the oldest or the oldest company in Birmingham, you know? And so they needed the assistance, they needed the help, and I got the know-how. So why not, you know?
Now, tell me about the ambassador. Was it the ambassador
So
program
it's
that you're about to do?
The Young Water Ambassador Program. So this program has been established at the Birmingham Water Works for over, I know, about 10 to 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
And in its original glory days, this program, we would send our requests and we would get 500 or so students back, you know, and then they were interviewed, but we can only bring in 100 students.
Mm-hmm.
And so this program, it shows a new generation and reintroduces and reconnects us to a high school talent pool.
Mm-hmm.
And because that's been the lifeline for the Birmingham Water Works for years. So people that graduate from high school, they come to Birmingham Water Works and we have amazing benefits, you know. And so being able to tell that story through a new generation is the ultimate goal in this Young Water Ambassador program, is to get them to understand and see our day-to-day operations. And hopefully the goal is that they will see us as an employer of choice when they graduate high school, and choose Birmingham Water Works as the employer to work for. We also have, like I said, amazing benefits. We pay for you to go to school all the way through, you know. And so yeah, so that's why we ultimately have the Young Water Ambassador program.
Are you going to run for office?
Am I going to run for office? God ain't told me to do that. You know, and that's the number one question that everybody asks me, man. I love being a strategist, and at this point, God hasn't said anything to me yet.
Yeah.
So I'm just enjoying the navigation of this space.
Yeah.
You know, but eventually, someday, I don't know.
If you had the opportunity, I think we're all at the age where we know that what we've been through makes us who we are. So I'm not saying you regret it. But if you could go back to an age, what age would it be? And what advice would you give yourself?
That's a great question. Come on, laugh. The number one advice, and I'm still telling myself this today, is don't be so hard on myself. Even as a kid, you know, I took on more. My mom tells me every day, like, you know, as an adult, I can't tell you certain things because you take on more than the average person. I can't help that, you know, because she got a big heart too. And so growing up, you know, I saw the things that her and my dad went through. You know, I saw what that, and I felt that because I'm an empath. So I felt that. And so, you know, I knew that I needed to achieve in school. I knew that. Like, I knew that in elementary school. I knew that I needed to change my mom's and my dad's mindset or their day just by bringing home a A+ certificate, you know. But in going through that process, I was hard on myself to achieve, you know, and achieving has always been at the forefront of even today, you know. And so, you know, and strategize and analyze every single move. And so I would tell myself, don't be so hard on yourself. Like give room for the flow, you know, of things, and learning how to relax during certain processes and phases, because every obstacle that I face, I've always got through it. And I've always got to the other side. So you already know right now, it's just the cycle of life. Just push through
Amen.
and move on, you know? And so that's what I would definitely tell myself is to relax, you know, and let things be, let go and let God.
If you could have a superpower,